In place for public hearing. Would the clerk please read the short title?
Yes, President Pro Temp. This public hearing is relative to the annual estimate for the City of Syracuse and the City School District for the fiscal year January 1st, 2025 and June 30th, 2026.
Thank you, City Clerk. Every speaker will have 2 minutes to speak. And I'm waiting for my cards from the back. Mr. Maroon will take care of that.
You want to announce that if anyone wants to speak. So, yeah, in the meanwhile, while they're bringing it up there, the folks might not know.
If anybody wants to speak, make sure you check with the gentleman in the back here.
Thank you. For us.
Okay, our first speaker is Rex Giordano, 112 Gord Road, Syracuse.
Who's the clerk? Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Today I can be brief. You've already received my words from February 26th. I won't need to address the inequities that I'm guessing the Syracuse Teachers Association discussed earlier at what to me was an unannounced public hearing. The budget has not changed. I like to look between the lines and lobby for support of the important little things students and families, even outsiders, will notice. Support music programs in the elementaries. Commit money so every school doesn't have to have one hard-to-find bottle filler. Remember, the best drinking water flows from Skinny Atlas, not Dasani. Spend money on sports uniforms and swag for your modified teams so that they don't look as ragged as the suburban schools have come to expect. My main focus is two hard costs for outsourced services that jumped out at me in the budget. Land building rental, currently $849,000, projected next year, $8.7 million. Really? A tenfold increase. Who gets to select that lucky landlord? Do you realize $8.7 million a year will let you build a fabulous new school with no state aid every 5 years, anywhere, every 5 years. Outsourced contract public transportation, up 13% to nearly $38 million. Does that increase reflect your promotion of school choice like it's a perk, not a penalty imposed for decades of underperformance? Reduce transportation costs by just 20%, you could build a new school every 2.5 years. Why should I care, since nearly all of that $612 million is coming from the state of New York? It's still our taxpayer dollars. Find a way so those dollars are applied to support those who directly impact the students, the front lines, the teachers, the social workers. I challenge district leadership to chart a path so that the entity now with the biggest budget allocation is someday the reason people choose to live in this city, not the reason they choose to live elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jardine. Blair Grosvenor.
My name's Blair Grosvenor, and I've been coming down here for 29 years, dealing with Ann Rooney, trying to get my child support situation straightened out. And she tells me my money orders from the post office, she don't know what happened to them. When I hand deliver them to child support, she tired of being promoted under the mayor. It left me hanging. I even went down there with $16,000 in checks and tried to pay her. She didn't have a conversation for me. She just shook her head. No, she was not accepting my money. This has been going on for 29 years, and I'd like to know where my money's been going. She took my bank account. She claims she didn't do it. She's done so much to me. I don't know how I walked out of my house without my briefcase, but I got all my money orders, and nobody's paying me any attention. One person stood up for me, and that was Helen Hudson. And Aaron Rooney lied to her and brushed her off, and I'm not getting a fair shake. I even went to the Attorney General. They told me if they work for the city, they work for the county, they work for the state, I'm just pretty much screwed. I'd like to have my life back. I need to be able to bank. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Grosvenor. Susan Falkenberg.
Hi, my name is Susan Fahrenkrug. I am the owner and president of Advanced IT. I'm also the whistleblower. I'm coming to you today because I'm concerned with the spending of IT. Specifically, the city got a $2 million grant from the state for a software upgrade for timekeeping, scheduling, payroll, and HR. First, the city tried to do the upgrades themselves with no technical experience working with Kronos. Then the city tried to convince Common Council to let the county take over IT. Common Council was smart enough to fight that idea. Then the IT department put out an RFP bid for the 4 phases of the payroll modernization project, which was won by Cherry Road Technology. Cherry Road Technology said that they didn't get all 4 phases, but they were paid millions of dollars. They only did the first couple of phases. Then the city started to give out vague contracts to Cherry Hill subcontractors and vendors, hoping if they threw enough money at the problem, it would fix the problem. Then Kelsey May reached out to EY, and EY told EY to collaborate with Advanced IT. The city was already collaborating with EY. There was absolutely no reason for Advanced IT to be involved in this project. Advanced IT collaborated with EY. EY told Advanced IT to stay out of the city. Advanced IT, frustrated, tried to contact the city anyways, and Frank Kaliva with the IT department told EY to get Advanced IT in line. Advanced IT patiently waited for phase 2, and the city gave the contract directly to EY and cut out Advanced IT.
Thank you, Susan. Do you have anything you want to submit, Susan? Did you have anything you wanted to submit to us? No, okay, thank you. Tom Babylon.
Thank you, Tom Babylon, 200 Burnett Ave. I've lived in the city for 22 years now. Ben Walsh and this council have increased the city budget year after year. Every single one of you and the mayor are responsible for making it more expensive to live here. 3 property tax hikes, increased water fees, new sidewalk maintenance fees, increased parking costs, and the list goes on. The mayor's now asking all of you to approve, yet again, another tax hike, 4 in 8 years. And even with that, the current budget has a projected $27 million deficit. This is ridiculous. If you include the proposed tax hike, it's really a $34 million deficit. As Councilor Williams has now correctly pointed out several times, this kind of spending is unsustainable. Listen to him, please. The payroll modernization project is a perfect example of this. As we just heard, at no point, we're not even sure if this was $8 million, $10 million, $12 million, depending on who you ask, the amount's different. Whatever their amount, it was wasted, and we have nothing for it. $90,000 for a subcontractor that admits that she did nothing, the city admits she did nothing, and we only know about this because of a whistleblower and because of an employee that Mayor Walsh thereafter fired. How many other instances of these $90,000 are out there? Look at this budget and make some cuts, please. We can no longer afford to allow this man to spend our money like this. This council needs to do its job, cut the budget, and balance it without any tax or fee increases. And even if this council were not to make a single budget cut, a tax increase would be completely unwarranted, as the city's currently sitting on a record high rainy day fund, which at the end of this year is expected to be $120 million. The city's outside auditor even says this is too much and it's not best practices. So why are we even talking about a tax hike? Why is Ben Walsh talking about a tax hike, and why are you even considering it?
Thank you, Mr. Babylon.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please, do your job, balance this budget, no tax hikes. Thank you.
Charles Matlock.
Good evening, and I just want to start off by saying it. I wish I didn't have to be up here today, but good evening. My name is Charles Matlock. I am here today as a concerned citizen to urge the city of Syracuse to pause our funding, our further funding to Tomorrow Neighborhoods today until the organization is held accountable to the community. Despite multiple requests, I have not been provided with TNT's conflict of interest policy, which is deeply concerning to me. Currently, TNT board members are often the primary recipients of the funds allocated to their own districts. On the South Side, Councilor Jones, who votes to approve TNT funding through you all, also serves as the vice president of the TNT board and receives most of the funding for her district. There is a clear conflict of interest, and from my understanding, very illegal. Even more alarming, TNT appears to be filing a 990N with the IRS, a form intended for nonprofits making less than $50,000 a year. But based on what I've seen, including at least one full-time employee and repeated funding from the city, it seems likely that they're receiving more than that. If TNT is underreporting income or misclassifying their nonprofit status, that's not just unethical, it may be an attempt to hide financial mismanagement or illegal activity. I don't believe tax dollars should go to fund TNT anymore until they can show their conflict of interest and a clear set of the rules that they actually go by, and I do have evidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matlock. Hannah Einrich. Did I have that right, Hannah? Not even close?
Hannah Ehrenreich.
Okay.
Hello, you brave and bright people. How's it going there? I have a short statement, and I appreciate you all for the time that you've taken in the budget so far. However, department revenues are not increasing at a fast enough rate, and operating expenses, or at least the requested operating expenses per department, are going up. Added to that, we are adding $27 million from a fund reserve in order to balance the budget. It's a lot, it's too much. So we need to increase the type of revenue that the city has available to itself. And I know that we have the creativity to do that. I know that we have the dedication to do that. This budget is difficult, though, to look at in terms of pulling from what we have available to us to borrow in order to just achieve what we are doing right now. We need a better vision for it. So the only request that I have for you is, if it's $27 million this year, where's the $27 million coming from next year? And I need to know. Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah. Karen Deaton.
Thank you for letting me speak. I'm going to be really brief. I'm not a big public speaker. I am a mother of 2 Syracuse City School District kiddos, and got really into safe routes to school in the last few years. I know we have a ton of walkers in the city. I know we've done lots of great sidewalk improvement, and I appreciate that. My East Side neighborhood is very walkable, and our kids are doing bike buses and all of this good stuff that I know not every school district has that, or school neighborhood has that, and I hope that going into the next year with school renovations that we're thinking about those little things, right? Like bike racks. Our school has enough bike racks for like 4 bicycles, and we're a K-8 school. So all of those types of things, I hope that the city and the school districts work together to continue doing that. I know Governor Hochul and local governments are thinking about that. So hopefully we keep looking at the little things. So, thank you.
Thanks, Karen. John Meyer.
Is that okay? Member of this common council, my name is John Meyer. I speak to you as a resident, taxpayer, and a member of the Washington Square Task Force. I will put a short note. Please forgive me, I had a stroke on February 14th, so we're going to get through this real quick. I want to take a deeper look at the budget. I want you to take a deeper look at the budget with the idea of looking at both micro and macroeconomics and ask yourself what the city really can afford and to take care of what you spend our resources on. In the tax debate, nobody's talked about cutting the budget. Nobody's talked about how the city controls large items, like the school budget, and where to cut waste. Remember this administration and the school budget board that argumentatively some people say couldn't even control the bus contract negotiations, and many feel could do a better job of tracking the children. No counselor has questioned the use of city vehicles, how we account for material goods like tools and inventory, non-tangibles like free office space. Finally, how money is spent by groups and projects we pay for. Two obvious examples where you gave away control or was taken away from you is the CRB and TNT Incorporated. In some cases, you approve funds and never have seen the contracts. Often what you believe you are paying for is not what you're getting. You need to see the actuals. No community center, even if they wordsmith their name, should be given taxpayer funding for backing political candidates in campaigns. Respected members of the council, I encourage you to direct your time not only to encourage the city auditor to make sure we are getting what we are paying for, but demand all groups report to you on what they're doing with the funds they accept. Excelsior.
Thank you, John. Jackie Lassand.
Good evening, councilors. Thank you for this meeting. Quite interesting. I'm a resident. I'm a taxpayer. My name is Jackie Lassand. I'm a Southside Coalition for Justice president. 2% increase on property tax. I have spent the better part of quite a few months calling City Line, DPW for properties that are, of course, codes, which responds when they get around to it. We have a rodent infestation in my own private multifamily house, which I have to protect the tenants as well as ourselves because of the unkept property, both properties next to me, and I have been calling everybody who I thought would listen. So I suggest that the job be done before you start asking for more of an increase. The sidewalks are atrocious, and they have been atrocious. It's great to hear that they're great on the east side, but on the south side, we have a different story to tell. The water rate tax increase, again, we have a problem with lead, so maybe we utilize funding and cut some lead pipes out of the scene, and then perhaps people would be more interested in wanting to pay anything of an increase. We are paying for services that we're simply not getting. So the property is for real in terms of even the city lots. We did Earth Day just the other day, and the amount of debris that doesn't come from a one-year cleanup, it is disgusting because there are city lots next to me, across, all around in the city that are unkept, that garbage continues to flow out of there, be dumping grounds, and yet more money is needed. Please, and I always ask the same thing of City Line, encourage these folks to do their job. We're still waiting for pickup on the south side from Earth Day. So we need to focus in on what services aren't being rendered to us before we start asking for more. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Daniel Adamsky.
Hello, my name's Daniel Adamsky. I'm a 20-year resident and taxpayer of the city. I'd like to start by saying you guys all are great at passing legislation and creating codes. Not so great at enforcing any of them or seeing that anything's enforced. A couple of people have already mentioned sidewalks. We got disability ramps put in on the sidewalks. We got textured tiles so the blind can get up them. We have snow plows on some streets, and we have a new policy of replacing them with our tax dollars. Yet, go down any street within a 2-mile radius where I live, and there are cars parked over the sidewalks. Who enforces that? No one. If you call, guess what? Nothing happens. Nothing. You call Common Council, you email them, guess what? Over 20 years, I've emailed all of you. I got one response. Unfortunately, that response was, sorry, I can't do anything about anything. Rental registry, great idea, great idea. How many properties are registered? You could get some money out of that for sure and improve the housing and take care of some of the problems. I have reported people. A former common councilor reported someone. Guess what? Still not registered. Still not registered after about 5 years of reporting. No. This increase that you want, what do we get from it? What do we get? The cops do not respond to calls. We have a racetrack on Teal and on James, cars going 60, 70 miles an hour. You call the cops,
Mr.
guess what happens? Nothing.
Mr. Adamsky,
Nothing.
your time's up. Thank you.
It is indeed. I hope yours is too, Mr. Hogan.
Ooh. Jesus. Jesus. Wow. Michael Amidon.
I wrote down some notes I'd like to read to you. I'm not an IT professional and I'm not involved in politics, but when I heard about the crazy stories going on in the city and about all the money being spent, I had to speak up. Thank you for this opportunity to speak my mind. The first thing I would like to address is Deer Island Bait Company. They were a subcontractor of Cherry Road Technologies who did work for the city. They were a cottage rental company and a fish bait store in Canada. They closed down their business in 2021. They were given a contract by the city of Syracuse in 2023, 2 years after. They didn't have business insurance because they didn't have a company. They worked on the city's main computer, the AS400 computer. My question is, what if they broke the city's computer? Who was supposed to look into this company to see if they were qualified? Who was supposed to collect their business insurance? The administration put our city at risk by waiving the bid process, which are there to keep the city safe from vendors. The second thing I would like to address with the city is the variety of vendors outside our community that are doing IT work. What about our local IT vendors? Advanced IT got the payroll modernization project for EY because they were listed on another contract, and the city did not give them work for over 4 years. Instead, the city gave contracts to Deer Island Bait Company, ERP1, InDev, Cherry Road after their contract was done, and EY. Why can't the city work with local IT companies, especially businesses who jump through hoops to get on a contract as a legit vendor?
Thank you, Mr. Amidon. Jodie McDonald.
Good evening. Sorry. Good evening, members of the Common Council. My name is Jodie McDonald, and I'm here. Initially, I was here as one of Susan's friends, and then she shared some things with me during our friend time, and I started to do some research and became aware of some other things. So the main reason that I'm here tonight is to ask the Common Council to please help me, myself, and other people understand the exponentially increasing rate of the IT spending in the city and where that money is going, and also the oversight process. Between 2010 and 2014, the average annual spending on equipment, so this doesn't include salaries, et cetera, averaged $28,000. And then in 2015, the amount for equipment, same line, in my layman's understanding, same line item on the budget, jumped to $493,000, which is more than a 10% increase in just the span of 1 year. And then between 2015 and 2019, the average annual spend stayed around the same. It was approximately $485,000. In 2020, that amount jumped again to roughly $1 million, which again, in a 1 year span, it more than doubled the previous year's expenditures. In my research, I also read some things, came across some things by people that were, to my knowledge, in a position of authority, or at least know-how in the city. One, Frank Kaliva, mentioned that parts, pipes, and PCs are going away, which infers that this money is not being spent on network hardware. Another person said that the city is switching to cloud servers, which infers that the money is not being spent on servers. And at last week's IT budget hearing, Dave Proack said that they have reduced the footprint. If I may have one last sentence.
Come on.
Thank you. So the bottom line is the question, if I would like to understand, is that if the city's not spending the money on hardware or servers, then what is it spending it on? And the operating supplies and expenses that are causing the budget to increase, what are those? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jodie. Kyle Warford.
Hi, my name is Kyle Warford. This is also to do with the payroll modernization project. In reviewing the city's actual spending for IT, the numbers just don't make sense. I've got what public reports show here, and according to this, the city's every year, year over year, spending at an incredibly increased rate. It's pretty alarming, as the point that Jodie made. If we're moving to cloud, if we're getting rid of on-premise servers, why are we spending more on hardware every year? It doesn't seem to make any sense. The biggest growth is with the equipment and contract services. It jumped in 2020, which is when the payroll modernization project started. Since the payroll modernization project, per Dave Proack, cost the city $8 million. He said that during the IT budget meeting, and most of that spending was to the contract services paid to Cherry Road and Ernst & Young. When you actually look at the contract services line item on the budget year over year, and then you compare that to spending for the actual itemized IT, like phone replacement, phone system replacement, platform modernization, the CRM, the relationship manager, has doubled from $1 million in 2024 to $2 million in 2025. It's hard to reconcile how in two different places we seem to be spending almost, twice the amount of money that we're saying, and it's not clear what line items actually are being spent, what was part of the modernization project, what are actual, line items for computers and hardware. So as an IT professional, these just don't make sense. The amount of money being spent doesn't make sense for 2,000 users in this municipality. And it's also not including the subscriptions that we're signing up for with the Payroll Modernization Act that's only going to increase this further. So I would like you guys to look into what's actually being spent for IT and get some kind of itemized breakdown so we actually understand what's being spent.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you. Yes, and I've got-
Adam Empey.
Hey everyone, yep, Adam Empey. I am also representing Advanced IT, as you can tell. And about this mess, yeah, I would like to address how the city treats businesses. In July 19th, 2022, the city of Syracuse gave the EY, Ernst Young, the contract information of Advanced IT. This resulted in EY asking Advanced IT to collaborate to submit a proposal for the payroll monetization project, with Advanced IT being the prime contractor. On August 24th, 4 weeks later, EY emailed Kelsey May with the city of Syracuse regarding the payroll modernization project. And I have hard copies of that. Our team has been digesting our last discussion, and we feel ready to begin planning with you. We'll walk you through the planned approach and timeline. Why did the city engage with Ernst Young and suggest Ernst Young to advance and to include Advanced IT? October 3rd and 4th, EY hosted a 2-day kickoff meeting regarding the payroll modernization, with the mayor giving opening remarks. That's also in here. This happened while Advanced IT was still working with EY to assemble a proposal. October 4th, Dan with EY emails Advanced IT this: we had our meeting with City of Syracuse. Kelsey said, first project Oracle roadmap. We'll send an RFP to you with your preferred vendor status with the city. The city gave payroll modernization project contract to Cherry Road Technologies in May 2021. The city knew that they could not award the same contract to EY. The city fostered EY, a big corporate giant, to reach out to a small woman-owned business, Advanced IT, to take advantage of them because of procurement procedures with the city. Advanced IT was targeted because they could facilitate EY getting work from the city. From the email provided to you, there was already a collaboration between the city and EY. The story ends with the city giving EY a contract for the work and pushing out Advanced IT.
Thank you, Mr. MP.
I have this for you.
Tim Rugg.
Tim Rudd, 235 Glenwood Avenue. Budgets are planning documents, as you all know, and I think they deserve to be as accurate as we know to be possible. It's my understanding that there's a number of intentional decisions made by the administration to make the deficit appear less than it is. I'll just highlight them really quick. One, the police cars. Traditionally, we pay for them with cash capital because they don't last too long, so you don't want to pay over 10 years when something lasts 3 or 5 or less than that. That punts that cost into the future and makes it look free when it's not. ARPA, we just claimed a bunch of ARPA revenue. We know there to be a bunch of expenses. We know they're likely to happen next year. They should be in the budget as an expense for next year. The one-time nature isn't a reason to not book them in the budget. These are public planning documents. They should be in the budget. People should be aware $11 million is $11 million. Opening a new fire station when we have a large structural gap with a grant is unwise, right? Where does the money come 3 years from now? I don't think we should declare financial sustainability while punting costs into the future. I think that actually exacerbates the structural problem we have between expenses and revenues. And I think it's hard for the council to correct all of these actions because you're at a disadvantage. And I don't think the administration is always transparent with you. But I do think you should work to try to make sure the police are able to buy their cars. I think they should have it in cash. And I think the ARPA money should show up. And I think you have to think seriously about the firehouse when you don't have long-term funding, because it becomes very challenging to close it. And that's really all I got. I've never met you, but I'm
Thanks, Tim. Karen Anzowak.
Hello, members of the council. Oh, go ahead. Oh, thank you. My name is Karen Anzak. I'm a member of the city, member of the city. I'm a resident of the city, longtime member, and good evening to the members of the council. I am also a member of Animal Alliance of Greater Syracuse and the CNY Cat Coalition, and my understanding was that in this budget there would be discussion about a dog shelter. There are over 24,000 cats and dogs owned in the city by people who are at or below the poverty level, but that does not include animals that we don't know about, for example, feral cats. We appreciate the Syracuse Police Department helping out dog control, but the situation with dogs has become overwhelming, such that callers are told to let the dog loose when they're trying to do the right thing and have run into a stray animal. The previous Parks and Rec director even couldn't get help himself when he tried to. Years ago, the city pound was killing 95 to 98% of the dogs, and many agencies pushed for changes, and we wanted to work with the city so that, and eventually euthanasias did come down, but we didn't solve the main problem, which was that too many dogs and cats are being born. We care about people too, but at this point, Animal Alliance has met with every administration and some community counselors, not to ask for money, but to ask for guidance on getting a building to start a low-cost spay-neuter clinic, and to also offer support and a philosophy that says, hey, we're gonna help our city's animals. So now there's talk of this dog shelter, and you know, there's talk of 40 to 80 spaces for the kennel. You could have 400 to 800 spaces for the kennel, and you're just band-aiding the problem. So there are agencies that offer low-cost spay and neuter, and I can list some if people need that. And you can build the shelter, but we really encourage that it be done with people who are familiar with shelters and the building of that. And just one other point, we have to make I know the mandate for dog control is for dogs, but cats are living creatures too, and we need to come into the 21st century, and we would be happy to talk to you about that. We are people who have picked up cats freezing on the street, or go out for a mom and litter, and there's 25 of them. So we'd love to have help for the cats too. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Karen. Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak regarding this proposal? Is there anyone else who would like to speak regarding this proposal? Hearing none, I declare this public hearing closed, and the legislation will be considered during the regular order of business. Thank you.